boy. Dark Phoenix. Man. Yeah, I'm very late to the party on this one because it actually didn't come to my theater that's near me during the summer, and I can't say I blame them. I had no expectation that this was going to be good. So if you want to say that I went in biased, yeah, maybe, but I was hoping it would be bad in interesting ways. And it kind of is, which at least makes it more enjoyable than Apocalypse was. I'm not sure I can say it's a better movie than Apocalypse was, but again, at least it's bad in interesting ways, whereas Apocalypse was just so aggressively mediocre and friggin' boring that, you know, I would watch this again before I'd watch Apocalypse. Not that I think I'm ever going to watch this again either. Oh, and in case anyone was wondering, why'd you watch this thing when you missed it and seemed to have dodged a bullet and didn't think you'd like it anyway? Well, it's because I'd like to do a ranking of the Fox X-Men films, and I can't until I've seen all of them, so it's kind of obligatory. All right. Dark Phoenix. Fox's second crack at this story after folding it in to be about a third of the plot to X-Men The Last Stand, which I am a little bit of an apologist for. Not a massive one, but a little bit. It's one of those movies, a bit like Batman Forever, that I say, or the Ben Affleck Daredevil. I'm not going to say that it's good, but it's better than most people give it credit for. That's kind of my feeling on X-Men The Last Stand. And they thought they should take another crack at it. This movie's weird. And not for like any kind of trippy mind bend. It's not like with Legion weird. If you want like proper weird X-Men, go watch Legion. But like this is weird in a just it's just odd. So like, now granted, some of what I'm about to say may have been properly set up in Apocalypse. I don't remember it being. Am I looking at the synopsis of Apocalypse? Made it seem like it wasn't. But I could also be wrong about this because I refuse to go back and watch Apocalypse again to find out whether or not I'm right about this. But this makes some serious leaps versus Apocalypse. And it feels like it's actually the sequel to a movie that didn't happen. This doesn't feel like a sequel to Apocalypse. It feels like there's a movie missing, which is actually a problem I've been having with sequels a bit lately. I feel like we're skipping movies, and they bring out films that look like they're paying off or are trying to invert stuff that wasn't properly set up and we didn't see or didn't have for long enough. So like this whole movie is supposed to be about the breakdown of the X-Men, except this specific team of the X-Men weren't even a team until the literal last few minutes of the previous movie. So when you go into the next movie and start pulling them apart, well, there isn't a lot of weight to that because we haven't seen them be a team. Not really, not in any meaningful way. That's the kind of middle movie I think that we're so often missing in these things, because it's like, bring everybody together. Next movie, split everybody apart. Like you do need at least one where they function, because otherwise it's like, oh well, them coming together just didn't work, did it? Because they fell apart immediately. Now, you want to be technical. In universe, there's a 9-year jump between the previous film and this one for no reason that I can think whatsoever, other than it's become part of the X-film gimmick, and I don't know why. So, First Class was in the 60s. Days of Future Past was in the 70s. Apocalypse was in the 80s. So this one decided it had to be in the 90s, even though there's no reason it needs to be. Like, narratively, there is no benefit to leaping it forward, I think 9 years. They just do it. Because that's the thing that these movies just do now, I guess. Why? I don't know. And I guess because there's a 9-year gap, they feel justified in acting like all this development and progress and character relations have formed and everything is like, oh, well, that would have happened over 9 years. Like, yeah, but it doesn't matter because we haven't seen it. Like, since when is the president calling Charles Xavier to help sort out emergencies? I'm sorry, what? And, they try and have Scott and Jean, which really only just barely got started. And then, okay, look, Jean and the whole Phoenix thing, they couldn't decide what they were doing because they set it up as if they were doing it the same way X-Men Last Stand did it, which was, this was always inside of her, but Charles had, helped keep it in check by messing with her mind. But they also, in addition to that, which is set up from the get-go, they also bring in the space Firebird Phoenix Force thing that takes Jean over. Why are you doing both? There is no reason to do both. And I know that if you want to be technical about it, the comics did both, but they didn't do both at the same time. They did originally the Dark Phoenix saga, which still holds up, still a good piece of work. If you haven't read it, Chris Claremont is the frickin' man. So, it still holds up, but what that was Jean losing control of her power and becoming such a massive threat that it ultimately ends in her death. Because it has to. Now, later, they basically retcon it with this whole thing of the Phoenix Force. But within the narrative of the story being told, it was originally just her power was too much. And then later on, it became the Space Firebird thing. And they didn't do both simultaneously. Because the two are tripping over each other because they both accomplish the same thing. Either she has this power already that she can't control, or she's taken over by this other force. These both serve the exact same function. They're redundant. You don't do both of them at the same time, yet this does. Why? And it brings back character, why is Magneto back again? I didn't know why Magneto was back in Apocalypse. I don't know why he's back here. And they completely repeat, almost note for note, his entire thing here that was in Apocalypse. And the one thing that was in Apocalypse was already a lukewarm retread of his original motivations. So, at this point, he's on Genosha and basically running a mutant commune, and he doesn't want to fight until somebody cares about dies, and then he puts the helmet on and goes fighting again. And you know what? That would have had some weight to it if he hadn't done that last movie. Last movie, he wanted to be peaceful. He'd changed his ways. People he cared about died. He puts the helmet back on and wrecks shop. You literally just did this. There is no weight to the idea that he's ever going to stop because he's never stopped. Oh, man. And it's just so clunky. So he goes from point to point. You could practically see Jennifer Lawrence's relief when, spoilers, does anyone care, Mystique dies. You can basically see her go, oh, I don't have to do this anymore. And I did actually say this out loud. I'm watching the movie, and at the very end, when, spoiler, Jean dies, I think it's Scott says, or maybe it's Hank says, she's gone, and Charles goes, no, she's free. And I actually said out loud, from her contract. Oh, God. I feel so bad that these people had to come in and do this. It is so misshapen and it's just none of it fits together. It's this weird mutation of a film that you just look at it and go, why is that there? Why would you do that? Why is there this and this? And oh my God, and now 2 X-Men movies in a row managed to take an actor who I have previously never seen give a bad performance and stick them in a role where they cannot possibly give a good performance. Last time it was Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse. This time it's Jessica Chastain as Vuk. Something like that. I don't even know. They just these weird alien things and they try to be it like build it like it's a big deal, and someone even has a line, they're not mutants. Like, yeah, but their abilities are not that far off from what we see mutants do. So is that supposed to make it scary? Because it doesn't. And like, if Jean herself is the threat, why do we need the aliens here? They're not putting her on trial for being too powerful and being a threat to the universe the way that they did in the original story. They just want the power for themselves, which means that the threat posed by them, if they get it, is the exact same threat already posed by Jean, who has it. Again, it's redundant. Both these things accomplish the exact same thing. Why? I mean, it doesn't matter. None of it matters because Disney has X-Men back. So, like, this is definitively the end of. Oh, like I said, this is amusingly bad. This is bad in ways that make you go, I'm sorry, what? As opposed to Apocalypse, which was so completely predictable, it just made you go, is it over yet? Whereas this, like, I find this amusingly bad. It's not, I'm not going to use the phrase so bad it's good, but I laughed. I also didn't pay a lot of attention to it. I mentally checked out very, very early into this thing. Just what a waste. What a waste of time and resources and people. Like, everybody involved had better things to do. And in most of the performances, you can tell the actors knew they had better things to do. I'm pretty sure all of them, as soon as cut got called, were on their phones to their agents. How many more days do I have left to shoot on this? And when can I get on to something else? What a mess. Dark Phoenix. You seen it? I'm sorry. What'd you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are. Drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Bunch of stuff to do down there as well. Like and subscribe. It is of help to me. Also, I have a Patreon. Link down below. That is even of more help for me. Even $1 a month is greatly appreciated. It helps me cover my bills. And there's other links besides. Click on them. They'll take you places. Or don't. You don't have to, because at the end of the day, you're the council. I'm just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned.